Hello, Math 133 students. I've received a question about how to do this problem, which is 3.4.23. Now, the 2.3 is where it would be in the actual textbook if you opened it up online or in a physical book, and that would be the exercise number it would be. It's also that number in the study plan. You can see the study plan right here under Student Resources. So if ever you want to do extra problems or get extra practice, there you go. Where it falls in your particular homework set, of course, varies from semester to semester, depending on what problems are put in there. All right, so I'm going to click on Question Help, and I'm going to view an example, and I'm going to go over the example. It says the accompanying data represent the monthly rate of return of a certain company's common stock for the past few years. Completes parts A and B below. Now, A is going to be determining and interpreting the quartiles, and B is going to be finding any outliers. So when you have a data table, you can click on the little icon, and you can copy that table either in StatCrunch. It'll open up StatCrunch, which is a software program that you have available to you. It'll look like this. You have it for free since you're a MyStatLab user. There it is. You can also look at it in Excel or just copy it to the clipboard. So I'm going to open it in Excel just so you can see it. And there we have it. These are all the data points right here. All right, so, and it's very small font. So let me make this larger font so you can see it all. So there they are in all their glory. Okay, so now we want to find the quartiles of this, and we do not have to do this by hand. I know if you click on View an Example, it's showing you the by hand method, but we don't need to do this by hand. What we need is a calculator. So if I go to Stat and I go to Edit, I'm going to go up and press Clear, Enter. Oh heck, I'll clear L2 as well. So I moved over to the right, up, and then Clear, Enter. Make sure you move up to clear. So you go up, clear, enter, and it'll clear out your column. So now I'm going to type 0.26, enter, 0.31, enter, and so on. Now the negative, you want to make sure you use the negative symbol, which is down here. It's the button that's on the very bottom of the calculator, not the minus sign, which is over here on the right, but the little negative. It's in a parentheses on the button because they don't want you to get it confused with subtraction. So 0.05, enter, and so on. All right, I'm going to pause this video because I'm just going to sit here and type in all these data points, as boring as that is. And boy, is it boring. So 1 second. One thing I thought of while I'm typing, you can see that it's telling me L1 parentheses 10. It's the 10th item in the data set, which since I have this in Excel, I can see that the 10th row is 0.11. So that actually helps me keep track of what I'm doing. So 0.11 is the 10th one, and 0.03 is the 11th one, and so on. So it'll help me just keep track of what I'm doing. Just a little note for you. All right, I have all the data points put in there. So now they want us to find the quartiles. That's the first part. So we're going to find the quartiles. So that means that we are looking for Q1, Q2, and Q3. All right, well, Q1 is the first quartile. That would be equal to the 25th percentile, in case you want to know. I'm not going to actually type it here. I'll do it this way. P25. It's the 25th percentile. All right, so to find that, all you have to do is go to Stat, move to the right to Calculate, choose number 1, one variable stats. My data are all in L1, so list 1 is where my data are located. My frequency list is blank. We leave it blank everywhere pretty much except for 2 different sections, section 3.3 and section 6.1. So you don't want a frequency list. That means you have some data in L2 as well that is coordinated with this. So you want to make sure that's clear and go down to Calculate and press Enter. And then as I scroll down, you can see there's little arrows there. That means that there's more to see. So I scroll down, I can see the minimum, that's the lowest number. That's the first number of the 5-number summary. So there's the minimum. There's Q1, which is negative 0.02. Right, there's Q1. Then I can see Q2, which is the median. So Q2, which is P50, the 50th percentile, which is also the median, is equal to 0.03. So there we have that. And then Q3, which is P75, the 75th percentile, is equal to, let's see, 0.1. There we go. We have the 3 quartiles. Done. All right, so I can go and match it if you want, so you can see that I'm truly right. So I'm done looking at this, these data, so I'm going to say done. And then I would put in those quartiles. So they're telling me Q2 is 0.03, or excuse me, yeah, Q2 is 0.03, Q1 is negative 0.02, Q3 is 0.10. They're doing the by hand method where you put the data set in order, which is fine, but we don't need to bother because the calculator does it for us. So 25% of the returns are less than or equal to the first number, 50% of the returns are less than or equal to the second number, and so on. Matter of fact, I'll type that up really quickly. There, since the quartiles are percentiles, that's how to interpret each one of those. So 25% of the monthly returns are less than or equal to the Q1 value, which is negative 0.02. 50% of the monthly returns are less than or equal to the median value, which is 0.03. And 75% of the monthly returns are less than or equal to 0.10. All right, now we want to check the data set for outliers. So to do that, we need a couple things. We need first the IQR, the interquartile range. So the interquartile range has a formula that we all learn in section 3.4. It's equal to Q3 take away Q1. To be fair, these should be subscripted, and I didn't subscript them earlier. I apologize. Really quickly, let me go back. Q1, this should be subscript. That's the more appropriate way to write these. I was being quick. Q2, that's subscript, and then Q3. Sorry. Okay. So Q3 take away Q1 would be 0.1, that's Q3, minus negative 0.02, right? Because that's Q1. So Q3 take away Q1, that's equal to 0.1 plus 0.02, which is 0.12. So that's the interquartile range. It's not an answer in and of itself, but it's something we need to be able to find our answers for the outliers. Okay, the next thing we need is the lower fence and the upper fence. Lower fence is Q1 take away 1.5 IQR. That's the formula for it. And again, you don't have to memorize formulas like that. They're just right in your note sheet. Oh, I did it again with Q1, sorry. Q1, there we go. All right, Q1 was negative 0.02. I'm going to subtract 1.5 times 0.12 because that's the IQR I found above. And I'm just going to make a calculator do this. Give me your calculator. So clear negative 0.02 minus 1.5 parentheses 0.12. Close my parentheses, enter. And my lower fence is negative 0.2. Make this a little wider here. All right, so then the upper fence, upper fence is Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. So that would be 0.1 plus 1.5 times 0.12. And remember, order of operations, the multiplication happens before the addition. Of course, if you type it in a calculator, the calculator just knows that. So I can type 0.1 plus 1.5, parentheses, 0.12. Close parentheses, enter, and I get 0.28. Now, anything that is lower than, so outliers would be data values, lower than negative 0.2 or higher than 0.28. So I would just need to know, are there any values that are that low or that high? Well, luckily for you, you have a sort feature in your calculator. So if you hit stat and then you hit number 2, you can actually do 2 or 3, sort A or sort D. Sort A will sort ascending, sort D will sort descending. So I'll sort in ascending order. So I'll pick number 2, sort A. And it's going to say, okay, what do you want to sort? And I want it to sort L1. L1 is right above my number 1 in blue. So I hit second, 1, and it's going to sort for me list 1, where my data points are. So I press enter, and it'll say done, fine. So when I go to stat edit now, it's not a jumbled mess like it was before. It actually is going in order from the lowest value of negative 0.17, which we actually knew was the lowest value because we saw it as the min anyway, up to the highest value. Let me scroll down to it. I think there were 40 data points, so I got to get down there a ways. But we're looking to see if anything's higher than 0.28. Yeah, we do have one. So we have one outlier, and it's 0.31. So we didn't have anything on the low side that was lower than negative 0.2, but we do have one outlier on the high side at 0.31. And there we go. So 0.31 is our only outlier. Now, just on a side note, if you want to do this, you can't do this really in Excel. Excel does not find quartiles correctly, just so you know. That's one of the reasons we don't use Excel for these data. But we could click the sort feature. Oh, I just did it without even noticing it. So if I highlight the column A, and then I click on data, the data tab or data ribbon, and I click A to Z, it's going to sort it in ascending order from lowest to highest. And you can see negative 0.17 is the lowest, 0.31 is the highest. So there you have it. You also, by the way, can tell when you look at the stat output, pretend it wasn't in order for just a second. This wouldn't find all of them, but you could at least find one of them if they occur this way. So if I calculate my one variable stats, and I look at my values at the min and the max, I can tell the min is negative 0.17, so I'm never going to have an outlier on the low side because nothing's lower than negative 0.2, which is my lower fence. But on the high side, I can see that my max is higher than my upper fence. So at the very least, my max is an outlier, but there could be more. However, when you look at the data set, you realize there aren't any more because 0.26 and 0.26 are both not larger than 0.28, which was my upper fence. All right, I hope that helps.